I think that we have very excited topic, talking about the agent crew. And also basically I'm going to share my experience, from last year, how I started to build up all those agent crew and also the infrastructure behind it. I call it like AgentOS. And also I'm going to share how I utilize those systems to build this OPAC. If you don't know OPAC, it stands for one person company, right? So personally, I believe from the OPAC, they're gonna become a $1 billion like a unicorn pretty soon. You probably heard the news, Sam Altman talk about that. A lot of people are working in AI also mentioned that. But today, I just wanted to share in a more practical way how this has been started and what kind of progress I have been making so far. For example, like nowadays, I'm burning almost like a $1,000 a day. That was about 1 billion token every day to polish my agent OS. But I wanted to highlight, don't be scared about the money, here. You don't have to do it, because basically what I'm trying to do is inherit this SOTA infrastructure and help you to ship your crew today. Okay, so let's get started. Just a quick check-in, if you can drop two things in the chat. One thing is where you are coming from. Second thing is your role and the biggest weekly time sink, from there. So I'm gonna read a couple of the comments over there. Okay, yeah, if you can type where you are, your roles, and what you spend the most, throughout the day. Oh, we got people, Secreta from the Toronto, Lusa from the let me see, Paragura, and also we have people from Fremont, Berlin, Houston, San Francisco. Wow, a lot of energy. Yeah, thank you everyone coming from all over the world. And also we have VP of the sales, architecture, product manager, all kinds of different like the positions. Yeah, thank you for joining me today. Yeah, and basically, I can see that the potential of the whole OPAC or Agent OS system is can empower everyone to do a lot of things. No matter what the position you are, what the company you are in, or whether you are trying to build up your own startup or basically do some side project, I think this system will be able to help you. Yeah, let's get started. From my personal experience, I do feels like that I hit this ceiling, especially from my last 12 years working in tech, right? A lot of things like the I realize is I'm building a job that I could not escape, right? For a lot of people, right, you cannot hire freely, based on what you need in your position. You could not quit, right? Because you have kids in school. You couldn't ship more because you only have, if you work like 12 hours a day, let's say like maximum, you only have 60 hours a week, right? And also, I feels like the solution to resolve this is I just imagine if I can have multiple myself trying different things, right? Maybe one of myself just go to work. The other self is building up some passionate projects, some AI agents, or I wish I have one self helping me manage my stock portfolio, right? Because when I go to work, when I'm building all kinds of different products, I have less time to manage my own personal finance over there. But for today, I will just show you how I create this system to manage all of this just using this agent OS. It's kind of like I create multiple myself, from that. Um, and also, I wanted to say that first thing we need to do a mind shift about this, right? The mind shift is, stop being crushed by organization. I think that we kind of like limited our imagination and also capability by those organization chart, right? And basically, you have one position, you're a product manager. You can only do the product manager stuff, right? If you do other things, you might step other people's shoes, and the people are gonna complain about you. But I wanted everyone to start to think of, right, with the AI, with the AI agent, you don't have to follow those org chart. There's more power or more capabilities you can do. So I want everyone to start thinking how I can manage a crew of the AI agent to help me to do 10x of the productivity or even 100x, right? So imagination probably gonna be the only limit you need to worry about. But other than productivity, managing the whole AI agent, utilize all those things should be able to help you to do so. Okay, so in today, basically, I'm going to show you what I've been running in this system. I also have basically a link for it. You guys can also go to that link if you want to try it by yourself, right? You can log in through your Google or your Apple or use your own email, and then basically we're gonna start the demo from there. But up from this, you guys can try it all by yourself, right? Or you just sit behind and then see me how I manage all of those. But what I'm gonna demonstrate today is my top five, AI agent crew, right? It's basically help me cover the whole workflows through my daily, jobs over there. The first one I use the mostly is called the research agent, right? So basically, I feels like the nowadays the information, especially things related to AI, is kind of booming. You won't be able to kind of cover everything, all the news, all the papers, all the releases from all the like model company or different tech giants. I feels like the I do need this kind of research agent to skip hours of the reading, help me manage my kind of knowledge base, right? What it can do, it has skill to do the web search, web fetch, it also can read on my own memory. To be honest with you, I have put the whole year of my own personal memory into my own database. And this database is basically help me polish the memory database design behind this agent OS and the clawbot, right? And basically gonna start to put up a type of knowledge library or wiki type of thing, for you. And they're also gonna accumulate it throughout the day. For example, if I start to learn the word model, right, using the research like a crew, later on when I start to build something related to that using my coding agent, the coding agent will be able to have the contacts or those wiki library from research agent. So it doesn't have to do another research again, to help me facilitate my work related to the word model. So that's something you guys can think of is all those crews are not just work independently by itself. It can collaborate, right? And it is all the beauty of this is when I design the whole system, you're gonna automatically to figure out ways to collaborate with each other and find the memory knowledge base, the library knowledge base, between among each other and trying to get the work done or the job done for me, very quickly. The second crew I created, like I mentioned, I don't have much time to manage my stock portfolio, right? So I'm just thinking if I got an agent to help me keeping monitoring those portfolio, 24/7, provide me the studies, the research or report, about the stocks portfolio I'm basically owning, and then it helps me in some occasions I kind of automatically buy or sell those stocks, over there. So basically, kind of dedicated. I'm trying to dedicate it all my stock management, to this trading agent. But give you some ideas. I think I've started 2 months ago. So after those 2 months time frame, I basically gradually delegate more jobs or grant more access to this trading agent. So up to today, I think my portfolio gains up to 11, close to 11%, gain over there. But if I do manage it by myself, if I just buy the index fund, I think the up to today is only increased by 5%. So basically, I'm seeing those 6% more increase if I delegate those trading portfolios, to my agent. It helps me earn 6%. It's still kind of like a pilot project, right? I'm not giving you any of advice for investment, but I'm just doing this as a research project to show that the trading agent actually can help us to earn more money. But if that's going to become a long-term sustainable project or agent, so basically I can earn money, while I'm building all those things or doing my daily job, stuff like that. So that's the purpose, a reason behind this trading agent. And the other two I'm going to show today is one is called a content agent, one is called the GTM, the go-to-market, right? If you start to build up your own apps or AI agent, if you wanted to, or as well as your startup, right? You definitely needed to have establish social media like figures to help you to go to do the go to market, right? So every day, for example, if I need to publish LinkedIn or if I publish like the X, I'm not going to the website or LinkedIn or X anymore. I basically talk with my content agent and then trying to figure out what would be the good content to publish on my social media. And it also have own like a scheduler. So, because you don't want to constantly publish on social media, you have to follow intervals, to get the best impression over there. But inside of this content engine, it considers what would be the best time or would it be the best content according to each of the platform, and then you're gonna help me automatically schedule all those contents we generated together. So, for example, if I got some new ideas, coming from my daily building public like AgentOS polish, I basically talk with my agent, to facilitate, with it, about that idea, and then try to generate the draft. And this agent gonna automatically insert this content into my scheduler and find a slot that best fits the content according to the platform, and also find the best time to publish that. Right, so all those things be running autonomously behind the screen. All I need to do is just focusing on generate the hardcore or high quality content from that. I find this is super useful for me, especially if you needed to publish a lot of social media, if you do like the course online, if you needed to release your product, those things definitely gonna help you. And the GTM is also another cool agent, right? Because a lot of people doing nowadays, everyone is doing web coding. Everyone is building the apps, building the empire by themselves. I think the most gated thing is basically how you can find your first 100 user, right, from there. I know a lot of people go to the Reddits, right, trying to send out the post. They do the X, trying to do the go-to-market strategy over there. But I'm thinking, since I'm just a one man, inside of this company, I cannot do those all by myself. I'm just thinking, can I delegate those things also to my agent? Right? So nowadays, my go-to-market agent is going to a community. Either it's a Reddit, it's a Discord channel, or it's a X or any of the community there, right? So it's basically gonna go in there, trying to figure out what people need inside of the community, and then figure out ways, trying to say or publish a post saying, okay, yeah, I got some cool ideas, I got some cool products you guys may want to try, things like that. So it's kind of like you're hiring a human go-to-market like a manager over there. I think a lot of time the good go-to-market like a individuals, they do the same thing. They go to communicate communities, figure out what the people's need, and then go back, bring those information back to the development team, and then development team trying to build some of the product on top of that, or even polish their existing products, and then release it to that community to get the first 100 users, right? Similar ideas behind this, right? Once my go-to-market agent get those information, from the different communities, different website, things like that, it can feedback those needs back to my coding agent, right? The last one I'm going to introduce is this coding agent. First thing it can do is basically if you just have the initial idea about a product or some project you want to do, then basically this coding agent will be able to talk with you, discuss about your idea, try to identify your target user profile, and then generate a PRD, like the product requirement document with you first. And then by following that PRD, you're going to start it to code by itself. Right. And the beauty of this coding agent is that you can connect it with the GitHub, right? You're going to do the version control. Even the coding agent messed up with your code base or generate something you don't want, you can always reverse back to the previous version. And then you can continue building on top of that. Like I mentioned, the coding agent will also receive those user needs, user feedback coming from the GTM agent from that. And then just keep polishing the product that you're building. And another interesting thing I'm trying those days is basically, even I don't have the first 100 user before I release my product. One thing I'm doing those days, like always, is basically I'm asking my coding agent to become a potential user, right? I give it like the some characteristics. For example, okay, you are a product manager, using just to criticize those apps based on the UI, UX design, provide feedback, for yourself, and then try to polish from that. Then basically my coding agent gonna generate this product manager figure and go to my website, started to use this app by itself. And then during the time, and they're gonna criticize on the UI, UX, or maybe some links doesn't work, and they're gonna feedback those things back to my coding agent and start polish from there. So the beauty of this one is before you release your product, any of your AI agents or any of your AI product, you already have an AI to test everything for you, right? From there. But they're not only doing the unit test, from the coding perspective, but also doing the test from the user or customer perspective, provide a more constructive information from that. Right. So that's basically the whole 5 critical agent crew I'm running every day. And then next thing I'm gonna show you this thing in live. I share the link, in the chat. You can just click register by yourself and then play with it, right? And I also give the free trials. You can try it for like 2 weeks to see, okay, whether I want to use the research agent, I want to use the trading agent, I want using the content agent, because different people might have the different like needs, for this. And also the next feature I'm trying to build, right now I'm developing is basically a customer agent, right? If you see, okay, my scope or my needs is out of those 5 agents, I want to have something, manage my calendar, right? Maybe a family organization agent help manage my family calendar, which I already have it, for myself. But if you want to build something like that, for yourself, you basically can customize agent. That's the next feature I'm trying to deliver, within this week or next week. But stay tuned on that one. I think that one is also pretty cool. So without further ado, let me jump to my live clawbot to show you how I usually, do this, from there. Basically, if you go to the clawbot like a website, I just shared in the chat, then you can click login, right? Once you click login, you can using Google or Apple login. This is gonna automatically log in my current account, right? And then in that, you're gonna see a main chat window. This is basically like a main agent, right? You can discuss a lot of things with it. I think last time I did is I'm asking, help me brainstorm 3 ideas of new projects using AI agents, right? So yeah, it gave me like the 3 projects, from there. And also, one thing I also want to highlight is once you start to use this agent, right, you accumulate the interaction, the conversation, your needs. This agent is going to start to pick up those things and store it into the memory. My point is, the longer you use this agent, the more it's going to understand you, and the better performance it's going to show moving forward. Right. For example, if I first log in, that's have zero memory about me, but you definitely can tell this agent, right? I have like a tutorial session you can go through. The agent is going to ask a bunch of questions, trying to understand your need, what you want to do. And once that finished, it has a basic understanding of yourself, your needs. And once you start to use each of the agent or each crew, all those interactions, all those conversations are shared among each of the agent. Right. So for example, if I, like I mentioned, if I do the research agent to focusing on the word model, once I started a project related to that with the coding agent, the coding agent already got the context from the research agent, right? So that's the beauty of the memory system will be designed behind the cloud, right? So all you need to do, just ask your questions, send your request, work with it to polish that idea, and also improve, from there. You can criticize it, right? So provide feedback, I don't like this kind of design. I want more kind of like blackish design or kind of like a bright design. Along the way, those agents are gonna remember those things and moving forward, gonna help you in the different ways from there. So one thing I also want to start to show is this crew agent window. Well, you can pick up the different agent right from there, and then once you click it, it's gonna give you some like instructions or introduction about those agents, how you can utilize that. I basically install all 5 here. For example, like the research agent I'm using, I send it an image about some plants. I don't know what that is. Ask it to say, okay, can you tell me what this plant it is, right? Provide me some information. Sometime I do also want to check, whether it has the right time from there. And for the trading agent, if you can see, I just send it some of the notes over there, and then it basically can help me to study the portfolio, over there. Then basically can see how much, what is my current portfolio, from it. I think this needs some refresh. Okay, for example. Help me understand today's stock market and anything worth noticing. Okay, and I can send it to it, let it process over there. And then the content generation also can helps me to generate different cards, images. For example, if I wanna some pictures of the red panda, because my son is a big fan of red panda, over there, or want some of the robot images, over there. I also can ask it to generate the different cards, from it. And the GTM, like the go-to-market agent, basically you can see, okay, this is just like how I can set up this agent go to market agent flow, right? It basically can ask me to provide the URL for certain product, PMF check, ICP. It's basically even you don't know all those terms regarding go to market, this agent gonna guide you through that, and then you can ask it to monitor certain kind of like a community or URL, even competitors work, from there, and then you can ask it to schedule a scheduler. Maybe you can ask it every day, help me update that. You can just doing that. Usually I do like 8 a.m. Like a summaries, of the go-to-market, study over there. So you can pick up the time and ask it to do certain things on a regular basis. So that's also can be achieved by the whole system. And the coding agent, once you connect with your GitHub, right? You have to register for GitHub. Once I GitHub things, then it can help you to manage that code base, right? So if you can see, I have put my main website along with it. It can scan all the files through my main website, and then basically I can just talk with it to update any of my website, any of my apps, from there. And if you set up this automatic deployment on the GitHub, it can also connect with your servers, right? If you have backend server, front-end server, they can do this thing called the CI/CD. You're gonna automatically deploy those things, before they run all kinds of different unit tests and make sure everything's fine. So nowadays, when I actually start to use less of the cloud code, but more of my own coding agent, because my coding agent has more contacts, for myself, for the business I'm doing, for the research work I have been accumulating over there. As you can see, all those crews can also work with each other. If you wanted to do something, right, you can just start using ads, right? If I'm doing the coding agent, I can ask a research agent, do some research on the word model, right? And then you basically can send up to this request to do a research agent, get a feedback from that, and then continue working on that. So that's a kind of like a collaboration system among all those crew. So, and later, if you're adding more crew over there, it's just continue helping you doing the same thing, right? So this is the beauty of the whole crew system, the AgentOS, right? Which you can also utilize to power up your own OPC, your side project, right? Or even something you want to build for your family. And also another thing I wanted to introduce here is the memory system. The memory system I'm building, actually I've been doing this for over a year, right? So if you're using some open source kind of like agent harness, like an OpenClaw or Hermes, right? They have different the memory system. But the one I'm building up basically combining different data structure, right? So definitely it has a daily memory. You can just do the summary, for your daily, how you interact with each of the agent. You're gonna do the automatic summary into this daily file. And then another thing I'm also building is the conversation, right? So for my personal use, I do have connected those agents with my Zoom meetings, right? For example, for today's Zoom meeting, after everything finished, the Zoom gonna summarize using the AI to summarize the whole meetings from there, right? So basically, I connect that with the Zoom, and every Zoom meeting got this AI summary, gonna automatically send those data back to my crew, and then my crew are going to include that in this conversation memory system over there. And later on, anything I discussed in the Zoom can become on contacts, for my crew over there. And basically, you can go to the setting to connect that with with your own account. Basically, say connect to the Zoom, or you can connect to your Gmail, right? And then once it being connected, your agent will be able to have the Gmail access, calendar access, and the Zoom access, right? And everything can become part of the source for your memory. And last thing I think I'm do, and then most of the other harness system doesn't do is because have this relationship, right? You can think of for the relationship is most of the time people doing the memory search or memory search over there, they're using either the keyword search or they're using the vector DB, like the vectorizer system. It's basically putting all the information into like the high dimensional space. And once you start to search for certain keywords, it not only just searching for that keywords, but also searching for the semantic meaning behind that keywords, right? So that's beauty of the vector DB. But the problem is if some of the conversation or some of the people are connected with each other, but there's no keywords connected to those relationship. There's no semantic meaning behind those relationship. You are losing those contexts, right? For example, maybe I talked with someone about certain things which may not have the exactly keywords, for this subject, but that person is also very important, for the project being running. Then if you do the memory search with only the keywords or semantic meaning, you're losing those contexts from that. But relationship type of the data structure will help you to fill that gap, right? So basically, the whole memory system I've been building have those kind of capability to do everything, by itself, keep recording, improving, and then help you finding the context. So the more information you're inputting into this database, the better the performance you're gonna realize or experience, while you're using either the main agent or the crew agent, right? So that's kind of like the system I'm building so far. And also, in the setting page, you basically can set the connections, right? So basically, for example, your content agent, you can connect with your LinkedIn, you can connect with your Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, right? So on the side, I'm also building this thing. I released that product a while ago, but that product is basically help you editing your video, right? So if you have shoot some videos you want to publish on YouTube or on TikTok, right? I see people spend hours or even half day or days to editing the video, right? Adding the subtitles, trying to find the highlight moments, and then basically this clip agent I'm going to release very soon. I already use it by myself. It's basically can help you to clip the highlights moments from your video. It understands each part of the video, each frame of the video, and then it basically can help you to say, okay, I see those 1 minute and 10 seconds to 2 minutes 30 seconds has a very highlight moment, and that fit for the YouTube shots, right? So let me help you clip that, adding some effect, adding the subtitle, and automatically help you publish on YouTube. Right. So if you are content creators, if you're an influencer, if you needed to manage your social media for your product to go to market, I think that's the best tool you can use. Right. So I already utilize that, but my next step is to transfer into the whole clawbot system to let everyone to use it. But that's something I'm keeping building. Same thing for the go-to-market agent, the coding agent. You can connect with your GitHub. You can change your different repos, from there. Another thing I also want to show is the trading agent, right? I do see a lot of people come to the CloudBot. I think right now I have over like 4,400 users on the CloudBot already. I see a lot of people coming here. They want to try the trading agent. They're doing it over there. So inside of trading agent, you actually also can put the brokerage or trading like a threshold over there. Because sometimes, some people might be aggressive on the stock market. Some people might be conservative. What you can do is you can change your max position size, maximum like a risk per trade, daily loss limit, maximum open position. All those parameters you can change just to help you to kind of gauge your way of trading, right? Your comfortable zone, right? Because you don't want it to fully dedicate everything to your trading agent. It might make mistake, it might go beyond your limit, but you can have some kind of parameters you can setting for your brokerage trading over there. So I think that those something I'm still tuning, but based on like I mentioned, I do see 60% of increase if I using the trading agent. Like I mentioned, I don't give the trading advice here. Trading is very risky, so take your own risk from that. Anyway, so this basically the whole system. Yeah, you guys can trial, use for yourself and provide me feedback. You have my email, and later on, I'm also gonna send the recordings. You can just reply that email to say, okay, yeah, that's something I also want to have for the crew agent. Can you build something like that? Or provide me feedback. If you see something doesn't work, definitely submit those feedback to me, and I'm keeping pushing and improve the whole system over there. So that's mainly the demo I want to show you guys. You guys can keep trying. Like I mentioned later, I'm gonna start to have this customized agent, so everyone can put their own like need for this agent. Maybe you want to create something new from there. You are more than welcome to trial this on this crew agent. Okay, so let me go back um, to the slide. Uh, I think one thing I also wanted to highlight the people here. There's a couple things what we did for today, right? I want you to understand that first thing, this open cloud is a one pipeline, right? Through the chat interaction. It also only not only the web base. You also will be able to download the mobile versions of it, right? If you click the download in the main website, I got the iPhone version, I got Android version, from there. So basically, you can click if you're more like the person who like to use mobile more, then basically you can download this app, on your mobile phone. It has a also better UI design over there that fit for the mobile. You can easily see all the memories over there. You can see the agent skills, so definitely feel free to try the mobile version as well. And second thing I wanted to highlight is basically what I demonstrated is you should be able to run your own company, your own project that you may not be able to do all by yourself, previously. But right now, with all those crew AI agents, different specialists, just one founder or one person, you can manage all kinds of things, from there or do all kinds of things from there. So just to give a try from there. Third thing also I want to mention is this can also route the real work to the special agent. One thing I do taught my students, or encourage my students to do nowadays is based on the workflow or things you have to do like on a daily basis, whether that's coming from your life or coming from your work, try to see if those agents or crew agent will be able to help you, right? For example, one of the use cases I had before is my son's school always sending us the different event invitation, right? Then sometime I missed it, in my email box. Then I feel very guilty if I don't show up, for my kid at the school. Then basically I ask my agent saying, okay, can you keep monitoring my email, every day or every half day, and then help me highlight any of the school event, and then insert that in my calendar because I use Google Calendar a lot. Then basically this agent does is trying to scan my email on a daily basis. If you see some school event, you can automatically add that event on my calendar and then send the invitation to my wife as well, right? Because sometimes I miss it, but my wife would also be able to see and remind me, and then we can attend the school event, right? So some of those, let's just give you an example that throughout your daily activities, definitely encourage you to figure out like how I can delegate some of those things to my agent. Even you spend like maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes to teach the agent how to do it. But from the long-term benefit, you can think you can save like 10 minutes a day throughout your life or throughout the next 10 years. Then you're going to realize how much benefit you're going to have by spending those 30 minutes to teach your agent to those dedications from there. That's one I highlight for everyone here. The fourth items I want to say is the memory plus the skill gonna give you some like a compound
Welcome to the channel. In today's
right
beginning
over there, and then you'll be able to once you start to continue using it, generate some more contacts, ask the agents, to change, correct the mistakes, provide feedback. Along the way, it's gonna become more and more powerful for you to use, and it also get faster, right? Because it has more context. It doesn't have to do the research again. It doesn't have to search the web again. That's something you might want to think of. The last thing is, for some critical things, right? You also can ask the agent to say, okay, for some critical like a post, I might just ask my agents, for those situations, ask me to review before you send it out, right? So you can change those nuance, or your comfort zone with the agent, to tell the, what kind of things you want me to approve first before you do it, or what kind of things I dedicate you to do it automatically, right? I think right now for maybe 80% of my LinkedIn post, I do delegate to my agent to do, because I talked with it, I build up with it, and develop certain things with it, and they can just automatically to summarize those things and publish on my LinkedIn based on the scheduler we put together. And then some of the critical ones, then I still wanted to review before it sent out over there. So those things you definitely can tell your agent to do, based on your comfort zone. So don't worry about, whether the agent gonna mess up those things. As long as you set up the boundary over there, it's going to follow and help you to manage those workflows moving forward. Okay, so before we close, one thing I want to highlight for today's course, I basically highlight all the 5 agents, that are gonna help you to running your OPAC. But I'm going to have a cohort in the early Jan that is more and go beyond that limit, right? So right now, for my own personal system, I'm managing over 30 agents, from now. You probably see that from my own personal website. I'm building 18 products all at the same time, right? I got my daily job, I got my kids to take care of, but on the side, I'm managing those agent crew to do all kinds of things, for me, building a product, do the consulting work, and also managing the Maven courses, over there. I just can let you guys to do a pick of my own system, right? So my testing system is on Discord. Once I finish the testing, I can transfer to the CloudBot. But if you can see, I realized, okay, this morning, sometime the Maven system doesn't send a Zoom link. Some of students has mentioned that they didn't receive the Zoom link. Then basically I'm saying, okay, my agent, this happened at 9:30 this morning. I said, schedule a Maven email to the last lightning session sign up, at 9:45 PDT, right? And share this Zoom link to the people who joined this, who signed up for this live, right? For this kind of lightning lesson. I think many more, you guys should all receive this email, but just want to let you know, this is actually sent by my own agent, right? Through the Maven system, right? From there, and it says down the broadcast schedule, by this date, and then there's 563 lightning lesson sign up, for this lesson, and it's insert the subject, the Zoom link, the draft for me to review, and then basically just ship it. So if you go to your mailbox for this morning, that's the basically the email my agent to snap. That's what I mean those days. My agent platform become the only platform I'm using for all my website applications. I'm also connecting the different hardware to it. These something related to that, but I'm super excited to see this agent to be able to manage everything for me from there. And all you need to do is just think about the creative ideas, talk with it, and ask it to execute, right? So give you some ideas over there, and on the left side you can see I have a bunch of the agent over there. My trading agent, I also connect with my Robinhood, right? Right now I also have my Robinhood like portfolio over there, right, to do some like tradings as well. So anyway, so those things I'm going to cover. We don't have enough time to cover it here, but I'm going to cover in my cohort courses, for how you're going to manage like more than 5 agents, what kind of user cases you'll be able to do, right? And also you have the approval gates at the scale, right? If you needed to manage a lot of like tool callings, if you need to manage different decisions, because one of the things I'm also exploring is how can I this agent help me to make the decision, right? Still, when you manage 30 agents, the gating part becomes how fast you can make the decision. But my next step for the overall system is how this agent can make decision for me based on all those memories, all those interaction we have been doing together. So that's my next level for this agent OS system. So if you continue using this, definitely you're gonna being keep updated on this, and you're gonna be the first one to experience those new features, right? And also the memory skills system, I'm gonna explain what's really behind that, how you can utilize those system to make your agent better for your OPC or your personal project, and also even throughout the course on a daily basis or weekly basis, and keep updating the new things I've been trialing or experiencing, then basically keep for my course, I want to keep all my students, first updated about the cool stuff I've been building, and you're gonna become the first one to try it. For example, like I mentioned, if I manage to get those decision making workflow in a autonomous way for the agent to manage, right? You're gonna be the first one to try it during my course. Okay, and also we're gonna have a overall community for that as well. Without further ado, last thing I want to mention is this cohort gonna start in June 8th. We're gonna have a 3 weeks time frame. During those 3 weeks, I'm gonna help you to build up your one personal company step by step. Right, we have 3 lives on Saturday, 34 lessons, throughout the week, 7 projects you can be hands-on. So week one, we're going to do piece model, agent OS, cloud, understand mechanism behind that. Week two, we're going to pick like a 3 agent crew you guys want to build together, generate the workflow, approve gates over there. And the last week, I'm going to help you guys set up overall pipeline customized for your own need, right? Whether you are going to do a startup, you don't have money to hire people, but you have money to hire some of the agents, then ship the OPC at the day one from there. And there's a couple of students showcase that is being already on my course website. You can take a look at it. Let me know if you have any questions, right? So right now, for anyone who has attended this this lightning lesson live, right? So definitely do a screen catch of this one. You're gonna have this 30% like promotion code. You can scan this, and also I'm going to share the link here in the chat. You can just sorry, you can just click on it and then do the registration. If you have any of the questions, for me, feel free to ask, and then I definitely gonna reply. And also, there's a link I'm going to send out. If you still kind of like want to figure out whether this course is good for me, from there, then mainly you can schedule 15 minutes, one-on-one with me. And during that 15 minutes, I want to understand, your background, what you want to achieve through this course, and then whether I can decide whether this course is a fit for you or doesn't fit you. I'm gonna be fully transparent. I don't want to waste your time to attending some courses that you don't find it useful, in the future. So that's I can guarantee I'm gonna provide very transparent, feedback on that one. So feel free to take a look at the link over here. Let me know if you have any further questions. And last thing, I think we're running out, but I'm gonna stay another 15 minutes more to answer more questions, questions from the people. I do know some of the questions people already put in the chat. I'm gonna start from that. And if you have questions you wanted to talk live, feel free to open your mic, and then we can talk from there. Okay, let me go through some of the questions above. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let me know if you have questions over there. Yeah, hopefully this is a very straightforward for you guys to service or understand. Yeah, definitely give a try, on this website from there. And then also, you can show my personal user cases here as well, if you want to show how I managed to do this, all along. And this is my personal website. It also shows the how far I have been pushing for this OC. Yeah, one question. Angela said, join late, will recording be shared? Yes, the recording will be shared 24 hours after this session. And then basically, if you register through the Maven is going to send out that link automatically. And after the session, I'm going to also send out the links or some of the from the session. So stay tuned for those emails.
Nathan, I've got one question in terms of the. Hello, are you able to hear
Oh,
me,
yeah, I
Nathan?
can hear you. Yeah.
Cool. So firstly, thank you for the great presentation. Super cool in terms of having the agents and organizing the agents talking to each other. In terms of the memory and the longevity of the memory that persists, how long does the
Mhm.
memory persist, and how do you make sure that the memory is recent and that
Yep.
what you're talking, and how does that whole thing work?
Yeah, very good question. Like I mentioned, for the whole memory right now, the longest time I kind of like restore this up to 1 year, right? So I'm starting this system like 1 year ago. So every day I'm feeding all the text, image or audios, to it. Like I mentioned, I have a hardware device that can collect the audios, within our families, from there. So right now, the longest time is 1 year, and definitely you're right. I found the most important thing for the memory database or memory system is actually how you're gonna update those memories, right? Especially throughout the way I do see some conflicts. Maybe 3 months ago you said something you believe in, right? And after 3 months you change your mind or your mind evolves, right? You have something new. So inside of this memory, it has a mechanism to forget things, right? And also you have mechanism to update things. I basically created certain kind of algorithm to do so. This algorithm system is going to calibrate each of the memory. For example, how much value you can create it, for the memory system, whether it's up to date, how much conflicts, it compare with each of the overall memory system from there. It generates those metrics, for the AI to decide it, okay, should I just replace certain memory with this, or should I update, or even should I just forget, some old memory from there. So these things I'm still experiencing, but just give you some ideas. I feel so the forgetting system or up and the updating system are the most critical for those memory as well. If you're using OpenCloud or Hermes, I also tried those before. I think if you use it for like a couple of weeks, a couple of months, everything seems fine. But if you start to accumulate it more and more, because those system doesn't do updating, do the forgetting, they just keep accumulating those memories, and then you can start to experience the degradation of the system because of those memory conflicts, right? Or whether the new memory is aligned with the old memory. But I feel the real memory system should target to resolve those forgetting and updating mechanism behind that. But my memory system is already implement those algorithm inside of it. I'm still testing, but through the last, I think I started to introduce this like 3 months back. I feel this definitely improve the overall system, but I'm gonna continue testing in the long run and continue improving over there. So definitely, yeah, stay tuned on those things. But very good questions.
Thank you for that. Yeah, super interesting. Thank you.
Yep, yep, cool. Okay. Uh, if no other questions, I will just close today's session. Like I mentioned, I'm going to send up the summary email. You're going to receive the system email for the video recordings. From there, feel free to watch it again. And also, if you have any questions regarding the cohort, regarding my building public experience, feel free to reply my email. And you also are welcome to schedule like 15 minutes, one-on-one with me. I'm also going to attach a link for the next summary email, and then we can discuss whether what you need, whether this is a cohort course is a good fit for you. But thank you everyone, coming to today's lighting lesson all over the world. Really like the energy here, and I hope you enjoy this lesson. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you.